All right. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you might be in time and space. Kinneas here, and we are this is the last time we'll be in Spain. We're just on the border of Spain and France here. Been this beeping off here for a minute. It's been beautiful. Spain is very beautiful. It is exactly how I imagined it, to be completely honest, from, watching movies. That's about it. All right, I'm trying to get us a job over here on Neofly. Let me turn on my automatic scene switcher. Trying to find a job that will take us into France. Okay. Come on, brain, work today. After today's show, we're doing Rome Total War, and then tonight, 7 p.m. primetime, back to Baldur's Gate, trying to finish that game. All right, got the automatic scene switcher started here. So now, there we go. Okay, so back over to the Neofly here. Let's see what our weight is. Try to get our weight down all the way. I really want this job, but doesn't look like we're going to be able to do that. Just with the weight requirement. Yeah, that one will work though. LDFM. See if we can find another one at LDFM. Is that the only one? Okay, it says we can take it now. 2,286 pounds.
Good day to you, pilot. The flight plan has now been signed off. As soon as all the cargo is safely on board, you can get on your way.
2,200. All right.
The ground crew are loading the cargo. Stand by.
All right. So that does leave us some space for fuel. Excellent, excellent. Okay.
Transporter. Cargo is loaded. You can start your mission.
So today should be beautiful as well. Going around the northern coast of Spain, up the coast. We'll do up the coast, and then we'll cut over to LFDM. All right, let's see if this baby starts back up. Take a look around real quick. Where we're at. Very pretty area.
Everything looks good from where I'm sitting. Taxi to the runway and takeoff.
All right, great. Hope you're having a great day. Getting kind of excited because, again, getting really close to finishing Baldur's Gate. And I've got my, this week I've had my very first victory in Rome Total War 2. It's actually my very first victory in any of the, in Rome 1 or 2. I just was awful at the Rome games, and the politics of it is very hard, and that's really what I'm trying to do right now. I've got a military victory, my first one secured, and now they will, unlike Civilization, once you win a victory condition, the game is over. You won, like science or economy, whatever. But in Rome Total War 2, like, you want to keep going, you can try to get all 3 victory conditions met in one campaign. So again, we've got the military one taken care of. And now I'm trying to secure a cultural victory and an economic victory. Okay. Pardon me, I'm trying to organize my desk here. Get things out of the way. This dang mouse. Somebody got me a gift. I love it. I mean, how could you not? I mean, somebody gives you a gift, right? But what it is they got me one of those mouse with like a super cord, you know, one of those cords that will never break. It's like threaded and feels like it's metal. It's very, very stiff though. And, you know, it doesn't bend, and it likes interfering and hanging out right on top of my keyboard, or it loves to slide underneath the enter key on the number pad and create a whole lot of problems for me. Okay. We look good. Let me bring the conditioner back down here. I don't think we need it full. Okay, landing lights are on, and we're good to go. All right, so here we go. Again, if you don't know where we're at, I'll load Bushtalk in a minute, but even you can see it in this map here. Ooh. We're at the corner there in Spain, right? As soon as we turn this corner, we're basically back into France. So we've gone around the whole thing. All right, and that's the course we're taking now. I'd kind of checked it out earlier, so I'd set up a flight plan which I'd hoped to get us up there. And I was lucky I got us right to where I wanted to go, LFDM. So that is the route right now. Okay, well, sit back. Remember, you're always the VIP on these flights. And smoker friendly. And here we go. Thank you for joining again. Really appreciate it. Do some nice sightseeing today. I don't want to lift off too fast.
Have a safe journey, pilot. That's some load you have there.
Something weird about the way she says that. Hello, hello, how are you today? One moment here. Let me get my plane into autopilot and doing its thing, and then I can say hello properly. Okay. Autopilot. Nav. Enter. All right. And let's look around here. Probably want to go to at least 3,000 feet. Set it for flight level change. Just pull back a tiny bit. Redlining the engine a little bit much. All right. That's nice. Okay. Where's our plane? I can hear it. Let me reset the camera. Sounds like a lawnmower from here. There we go. Oh, shoot. One moment. Okay, so let's see. Hey, it's heading to you have to leave early. Okay, go right ahead. I understand, even if you don't want to stick around at all. Hope your classes are going well, and everything's going well for you today. I know that you've got, again, you've got classes going on right now. Let me try to turn on Bushtalk Radio. And I know that there's some landmarks around here. Sorry I didn't get this done beforehand. I was rushing. No, you pause. We don't want to get too far. Keeps unpausing on me. Pause. All right, that's taken care of. Now we just need to open up the website for it. That will play the audio tours for us. Apologies for me bouncing around. I am trying to do this all today on one monitor, and I've got lots of different screens open, and one of my monitors is down. So, okay, good, that's working. All right, so this is where we are in Spain, and let's see if there's any audio tours that... Yeah, there's several right here. Okay, so that's the airport. Here is something out here.
Palacio de Deportes de Santander is an arena in Santander, Cantabria, Spain. It is primarily used for basketball and handball. The arena has 6,000 seats.
We should be able to see that.
Hosting various sporting events, it is also the venue for numerous concerts organized by the Santander City Council, among other activities and celebrations. The building has a concrete structure and a metal roof made of 400 stainless steel sheets of different sizes. Approximately a third of the circular grandstands are retractable, while the rest is made up of prefabricated concrete elements attached to beams cast in situ.
Well, we should be able to see that. If it is in here. Sounds interesting. All right, so yeah, it's out there on the towards the coast, and then there is...
The Bay of Santander is both a comarca of Cantabria and the largest estuary on the north coast of Spain, with an extension of 22.42 square kilometers. Due to the influence of Santander and its metropolitan area, nearly half of the population of the autonomous community of Cantabria is gathered around it, which makes the anthropic pressure on this area of water quite notable. The entrance to the bay is lined by the Sardinero beaches, where the Isle of Moru with its lighthouse can be found. The access to its interior is through a narrow channel of water between the Magdalena Peninsula, near to which are the and the sandbanks of a long series of beaches and dunes that protect the tranquil inner waters of the bay. The morphology of the bay has suffered important changes in the last centuries. It is estimated that more than 50% of the original extension has been filled up, drying up a large amount of marsh area for grasslands, to expand and to create new industrial and residential areas. At the moment, work is going on to recover the seaside ecosystem in some areas of high ecological value. Several rivers empty into the Bay of Santander. The most important is the Rio de Solia, in the south. The Rio de San Salvador empties in the center of the bay via the Rio de Astillero, while in the east flow the Rios of Carmen and Reyos. To the west is the Rio de Cubas, which is the mouth of the Mira River. The Santander Bay is formed by a diaper generated during the Alpino-type orogeny of the Tertiary period. Its materials are composed of clays and salts that ascended, taking advantage of the faults. This movement generated an increase of the fracturing and an important dragging of rocks from the outer layers. The weakness zone generated by the Kuiper's clays made easier its erosion compared with other sandstone or limestone areas, which involved the advance of the sea and the formation of the bay.
All right, it looks like that building isn't visualized in Microsoft Flight Simulator. We just see the ground texture for it and can't make it out. So we'll move on. All right, coming up ahead. Okay, you have a great day, Henning. We'll see you soon. All right, so that was the bay. And there's a lighthouse out there, which we might be passing.
Opposite the coast of the city of Santander in northern Spain, located on the rocky island of the same name, is the Moru Lighthouse, contrasting the impressive waves of the Cantabrian Sea since 1860. Moru Island, originally Mogro Island, is a small uninhabited island in the Bay of Biscay, located off the Magdalena Peninsula. It lies close to the entrance to the Bay of Santander near the city of Santander, Cantabria, along the north coast of Spain. The island is approximately 2 hectares and lies about 0.75 kilometers from the entrance to the harbor.
Okay, it's trying to get back on course here. Let's go to general options for a minute. Let's see about turning up the bring up the ground texture, see if I can render things a little bit higher today. That bogging the machine down. I can't wait for update 15, man, or madam. Update 15, they're going to introduce a taste of what they're saying, a taste of the memory, the new memory programming, how the simulator uses memory and yada, yada, yada. And everybody said it's running fantastic. It's running smooth. It's way better frames. And I'm hoping that means you can also increase the graphics levels. Okay, we're getting ready to turn. It's getting ready to hook up with the GPS right about now. GPS and modern avionics, man, just so cool. Well, I think it is. Come on, you're gonna turn. If it's not, oh, there we go. Come on. I loved learning how to use steam gauges, and I've loved learning how people of the past had to learn how to navigate. And I'm glad I know how to do it. But I don't envy them, people of the past having, but before VOR even, before really we had radio navigation, you basically were just, everything was visual flight rules. So thank goodness for the invention of, radios and that kind of technology that allowed radio navigation, but we still have flaps up. There we go. But, man, this modern avionics and autopilots and what they call these glass cockpits. So if you hear that term glass cockpit, they're not referring to your windshield. They're they're referring to basically like just your monitors, digital monitors. And these already look these almost already look a little bit outdated compared to, you know, more modern touch screen stuff. And but it's advancing really quickly, and these are just so powerful. There's so much you can do with them. Yeah, let me take a look outside. We're at 3,000 feet. Okay, so 3,000 feet, pull back on the engine a tiny bit. Don't want to redline anything. And we also don't need full power to the propeller. So bring that down to minimum, separator in, landing lights off. Beacons on, nav lights on, strobes on. All right, what else can we mess with? Everything seems to be running good. Let's see how far else we can push the graphics today. So leaving that down, I'm turning that off. We don't need clouds. I'm going to leave it at clear skies. Bump up the textures. I don't like being, I mean, you can go really aggressive with the anisotropic filtering, but people have been saying, oh, my game shimmers, all my textures are shimmering. And especially in my live streams, when people are watching playback, they're always complaining that all my textures are shimmering. And a lot of that has to do with the anisotropic filtering. Somebody put it to me this way: the barrel, like a barrel or a crate on the ground, instead of it just looking like a brown box, anisotropic will sharpen all the textures on objects so that it really looks like a crate or it really looks like a barrel. But if you're 3,000 feet in the air, you can understand we really have no need for that. Off. Light shafts, good. Do we even need them on? No. Not for this. So yeah, I mean, 3,000 feet in the air, we can't see a thing. Really objects either, but the ground looking as nice as possible. We'll turn down this about to 30 since we can't see anything down there now. And then we'll just try to increase the overall render scaling of the entire scene to 150. Things might get a little shaky here. We'll see. They tend to. Good. Still smooth. And I can already see the graphics on the ground. Everything's tightened up there. Because I reduced the visibility. Again, we're 3,000 feet. We're not. You can't really make out buildings that good. You know, all the details on them. So strip the memory there, and then overall just try to create the better vector data for the landscaping. And then increase the whole rendering. Render everything tighter. Since we actually are running really smooth. So now we are running the render resolution at 1920 by 1080. We can bump that up too, but let me go down to terrain level of detail and see if we can now increase. There's 200%. To really get those triangles working, the tessellation. I was mentioning yesterday that it's so beautiful here, and that no matter where we've flown, every bit of it has been beautiful. All of it is so beautiful, no matter where we're at. I would love a home anywhere. But this area, well, Spain in general, but this area of Spain, northern Spain, it's so beautiful. You would think after a while, flying everywhere, everything starts looking the same. And in some states, yeah. But for the most part, if you are actively looking, you see it's all different. There's difference everywhere. There's something unique and beautiful about every inch of the place. Oh, by the way, in the chat room, if you are looking to hang out with other experienced Microsoft Flight Simulator people that are interested in what I'm doing, our little group, if we want to create our own little group, then the gentleman in the chat room who you see there, Burger LOL, he's from Germany, and I like calling him my him and his buddy Hans, my glider instructors. And if you would like to add them in as your friend on YouTube and when he's around again, we can multi-fly and multi-play and do gliding together and other fun little activities. Oh, but anyway, check out his page. You can click on his name and right-click and choose Go to Channel. Go check out Henning's channel. And now he's starting to make videos. I asked him to recently to start, making videos of his glider activity. And he's posted a few now. And they're great. He's only doing like the TikTok versions, the little shorts. I'm waiting for him to put together a full length something. I don't want to see a TikTok. I want to see like the whole day's activities. Just strap a GoPro to your head and don't think about it. Get a body cam on and don't think about it. I want the whole experience of what goes on. I don't know if his instructors will agree, but that's what I'd like to see. All right, I'm starting to notice a little bit of micro stuttering, but not too bad. Whoops. Trying to zoom in and then pull us back. So there we go. And get a much wider view of everything. Yeah. That's not too bad. Again, because I'm constantly staring at the thing, I catch little tiny little micro stutters like there. I hate bringing it to your attention, but it is telling me, hey, you're starting to push it, man. Starting to push it a little too hard. Let me go into my taskbar thing and see if there's anything I turn off. Also, I'm not really hearing my fans. Not you, like fans. My computer fans. And for Microsoft Flight Simulator, my best advice is if you can custom tune your fans, then do it. Right? So yeah, and it doesn't sound like they're on. And I'm not even over. Oh, that's not it. Huh. It blew out my Microsoft Flight Simulator profile in AMD. And I don't know why. I mean, let me go to manual tuning here. That's why. I wonder if I had a driver crash. Anyway, it's Microsoft Flight Simulator gets super hot. Wow, I'm still not hearing the damn. Some days I enjoy having AMD hardware. This is the first AMD system, gaming system I've really ever had. And some days I really enjoy it, and some days I don't. Some days I do not appreciate their Adrenaline driver at all. Crashes all the time. It doesn't hold profiles. Like right now, with this game on, it didn't turn the fans on. There the fans go. Let's see how hot we're running. Where's the heat? Yeah, and then they changed the screen, so I can't see. Yeah, we're at. I can't see the heat now. What the temperature was? 77 degrees. Okay, we're coming down. 76, 75. But it was higher than that. Okay. All right. 68 degrees. Trying to find that sweet spot between where it's bringing the temperature down, but not too noisy on the fans. Still holding at 70. It's running hot. Because I've got the graphics up so high too. All right, let's ease up a tiny bit. Okay. Looks like a very, very busy place down there with those ports. Shipping. Lots of shipping. We didn't get an audible for this.
The Vizcaya Bridge is a transporter bridge that links the towns of Portugalete and Las Arenas in the Biscay province of Spain, crossing the mouth of the Nervion River. The port of Bilbao is located on the Bilbao-Abra Bay and along the estuary of Bilbao, in Biscay. The main facilities are in the Santurtzi and Zabina municipalities, approximately 15 kilometers west of Bilbao. Also called Exterior Port and Superport 2, the port complex occupies 3.13 SQKM of land and 16.94 SQKM of water along 17 kilometers of waterfront. The container volume was over 500,000 TEUs in year 2007. Bilbao British Cemetery is located in Sondica, in the province of Biscay, in the autonomous community of the Basque country, northern Spain. The British Cemetery was originally located on the coast of Biscay from about 1775, before being disaffected and relocated to its current position in 1929. The cemetery contains a Commonwealth War graves plot with 58 casualties, many reburials from other cemeteries in the region where permanent maintenance could not be assured. These casualties include servicemen from Poland, as well as persons from the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth of Nations. Service personnel from both the Royal Navy and Royal Air Force are buried here. Most of the dead are from World War II. There are also 4 graves and 3 special memorials of British service personnel of World War I.
Oh, all right, that's kind of sad. There's a Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao, and there's a interesting bridge over there, and then there was this big battle here. I think that's related to this cemetery she's talking about. Maybe, let's find out.
The Battle of Bilbao, part of the war in the north in the Spanish Civil War, saw the Nationalist Army capture Bilbao and the rest of the Basque country that was still being held by the Republic. Background: Bilbao was the capital of the autonomous Basque area established by the Republic after the war began to reward Basque nationalist support of the Republic. The Basque people in Spain generally inhabit 4 provinces: Navarre, Álava, Guipúzcoa, and Biscay. The Basque nationalists were dominant in the last 2 provinces. Navarre and Álava had rallied to the rising against the Republic. The Spanish nationalist troops gained Guipúzcoa early in the war with the fall of Irún in August and San Sebastián on the 13th of September.
Why would they destroy a republic? I don't get it.
The Basque country and the zone held by the Northern Republicans from the French border. On the 31st of March, the nationalists, led by the General Emilio Mola, launched an offensive against Biscay province. The Basque troops had to retire, and by June, the nationalists had reached the outskirts of Bilbao. Battle. By the 11th of June 1937, the Basque forces had fallen back to the city of Bilbao, which was defended by a series of rushed fortifications called the Bilbao's Iron Ring. It was poorly designed for defense. It was quite an antiquated concept, akin to First World War fortifications, and so was vulnerable to modern warfare and weapons, such as aircraft and artillery, and only 30,000 troops were defending it. Therefore the Iron Ring was rather easily overcome by nationalist forces. The ring was breached by an infantry assault supported by heavy air and artillery bombardment. On the 12th of June, the Spanish Republican Army launched a diversionary attack against Huesca to stop the nationalist offensive, but the nationalist troops continued their advance. On the night of the 13th of June, the defenders evacuated most of the civilian population from the city. On the 18th of June, General Alibari withdrew his remaining troops from Bilbao, and the nationalists occupied the city.
So the nationalists were trying to take back over their country. It almost sounds like, the leftists, the Democrats, had fully taken over and were running things, and the nationalists didn't want any part of that at all, and they came in. Now, I don't know, that's just me guessing based on what she's talking about. But she's describing the Republicans, a Republican group of people, as nationalists, and them wanting to take back.
Castellogarx is an islet on the coast of Biscay belonging to the municipality of Bermeo, Basque country.
Don't know.
It is connected to the mainland by a man-made bridge. On top of the island stands a hermitage, dedicated to John the Baptist, that dates from the 10th century, although discoveries indicate that the date might be the 9th century. With another small neighboring island, Aker, they form a protected biotope that extends from the town of Barquio to, on the Bay of Biscay. The Basque coast is rough in this area. The sea ceaselessly erodes the rocky coast, creating tunnels, arches and caves. The island of Castellogarx is in the center of this section of coast next to the smaller Kerr Island, a sanctuary for marine birds.
Over here in this valley, or this gully here, we have, way in the background, we have something here. Oh, Guernica. Pablo Picasso painted a painting about the Battle of Guernica. The bombing of Guernica.
Guernica is a town in the province of Biscay, in the autonomous community of the Basque country, Spain. The town of Guernica is one part of the municipality of Guernica-Lumo, whose population is 16,224 as of 2009. Guernica is best known both as the scene of the April 26, 1937 bombing of Guernica, one of the first aerial bombings, and as the inspiration for Pablo Picasso's painting Guernica, depicting the effects of that outrage. According to official Basque figures, 1,654 civilians were killed, but German sources report a round figure of 300 civilians killed in the bombing, according to the German Bundeswehr magazine. The raid was requested by Francisco Franco to aid in his overthrowing the Basque government and the Spanish Republican government. The bombing of Guernica, which went on continuously for 3 hours, is considered the beginning of the Luftwaffe doctrine of terror bombing civilian targets in order to demoralize the enemy.
So, a group of leftists bombed. Because again, let me play that again. She says that they were taking it to Republican nationalists, right? You gonna play again for me?
Guernica is a town in the province of Biscay, in the autonomous community of the Basque country, Spain. The town of Guernica is one part of the municipality of Guernica-Lumo, whose population is 16,224 as of 2009. Guernica is best known both as the scene of the April 26, 1937 bombing of Guernica, one of the first aerial bombings, and as the inspiration for Pablo Picasso's painting Guernica, depicting the effects of that outrage. According to official Basque figures, 1,654 civilians were killed, but German sources report a round figure of 300 civilians killed in the bombing, according to the German Bundeswehr magazine. The raid was requested by Francisco Franco to aid in his overthrowing the Basque government and the Spanish Republican government. The bombing of Guernica, which went on continuously for 3 hours, is considered the beginning of the Luftwaffe doctrine of terror bombing civilian targets in order to demoralize the enemy.
Now, I don't know how they ran their country. I don't know anything about their politics. But I do know that throughout history, republics are superior forms of government. All right? And this is history. This is not me pulling stuff out of my butt. The historians say that the best government type that did the most for the people, that advanced civilization the best, in all cases, has been the Republican form of government. Right? So we started out, you're hearing a lot in the United States today, the democracy, our democracy. Folks, that's the red flag right there. America was founded as a constitutional republic, and they always talk about, it's cool that you have a republic as long as you can keep it. So republics throughout history have devolved. They have devolved over time into democracy. And then they devolve into anarchy. And then they collapse. And that's history repeating itself. That's the cycle. So I'd like you to be aware of that in your own language and what you're hearing every day. And what we just, throughout time, what we just saw back there, what we just heard about back there. A group of people are trying to overthrow the Spanish Republic. And the Nationals are over there fighting, trying to keep them at bay. So don't think that, especially in the United States, that Democrats are all peaceful and loving, and, it's never been that way. And I don't understand. I had always hoped that, at this point in history, with our education systems, that everybody would be fully aware of this information and we'd all be on the same page. Hey, you know what? Wow. Why don't we try to avoid that happening again? Maybe we shouldn't push so far that we change America from a constitutional republic to a democracy. Because it doesn't end well. And so that's how I'm voting. I am voting with what the historians have said. So this whole Make America Great Again, I don't know, that triggers a lot of people, right? But fundamentally, the American nationalist is fighting for that. All right? They're trying to throw a whole bunch of stuff at people saying, well, white supremacy and this and that and this and that and this and that. And that's the same arguments and stuff they've thrown at everybody in the past. Same crap, different century. Okay, so how do you feel about that? Will that change your vote? Did you know that? So when I was growing up in high school, and I had heard that the historians were only predicting us, if we followed along the same path, and the education system fails us, and we repeat, then they expected America would fall at this time right now. And it would devolve into democracy. And it's happening. It's happening. And so, again, they're throwing anything that will stick, trying to get anything to stick, to try to convince you that Orange Man bad, Make America Great Again is a bad thing. It has anything to do with white supremacy. All of these things. And it's about none of those things. When the Romans had a republic, everything went swimmingly. They allowed liberals and Democrats to take over at the end days, and they invited everybody in and, open the gates, open the borders. And they allowed themselves to be conquered from within as well. And they collapsed. And Greece before them, and everybody before that, and on top of all that, we have had the forces from Persia from the beginning of time constantly pushing to destroy the Western world in general. So not only do we have all of these problems internally with our own people understanding how we need to run things to stay alive, but we've always had a constant push from Persia, Iran, to overthrow all of the rest of the world and all of the Western world, Western society. It's never stopped. It's going on right now. Everybody's pointing fingers. How dare they, and how dare they, and how dare they. It's like, you people have been doing this since the beginning of time, and you're trying to make people feel bad that you're somehow the victim. I've tried not taking any sort of hard stance on what's going on in the Middle East and making any statements whatsoever about it. But, you know, feeling a little bit testy today. So here you got a group of people that have been under fire since the beginning of time, and they're under fire again by the same people who now want you to feel like they're the victim somehow. And I'm not having any of it, because it's never stopped. They've never stopped. It's been relentless since before and after the Great Flood. And they're up to the same activities today as they were then. And ultimately, that's their goal. And now, yeah, no matter where they're at in the world, they're creating conflict. So again, trying to get our own people, that goes back to Rome Total War, which I'll be playing again at about 5 p.m. today, if I don't start a little bit earlier. The hardest people to keep under control and stop chaos from happening are my own people. So in Rome 2 Total War, you have an entire Senate and political system and family systems. You know, different political families, politicians, and yada, yada, yada. And in this game, I decided I'm going to try to be like the ultimate ruler. I want to rise to a republic and get the Roman government switched to a republic. I don't want to actively go to war with anybody myself and declare war on anybody. I want to be friends with everybody and make allies and defensive pacts. And if any of my friends end up being sucked into a war, I'm going to be right there for them, and I'm going to try to beat them if they invite me into one of their wars, to take as much land as I can, you know, because at that point, all's fair in love and war. And if I acquire all that land, helping my friends, it doesn't go really against my reputation. I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. So by doing that, I have achieved a military victory in the game for the very, very first time. Surprisingly. But my people, the different political factions and families inside my nation, have seceded multiple times and caused civil war to happen. That's exactly what I'm talking about, what I was just talking about. We have our own internal problems with our own people who have their own way of thinking, and they don't have a real great grasp of history because they don't speak about history. They don't talk about these things. None of these politicians on TV today are talking about the story all the way from ancient times all the way up to today and their roles in it. They're just doing the same dang things. And on top of that, again, you've got all these external forces that are trying to destroy you as well. So in tonight's game, like last night's game, now that I've won a military victory and I'm trying to achieve a cultural victory and an economic victory. And in trying to do so, I'm not doing anything. None of my militaries are running around. There's pretty much world peace in my game at this point. I'm not being asked to join any conflicts. Nobody's popping off and creating any new wars for us. But my own people keep wanting to fall into the negatives. It's called loyalty. And if they go too far into the negatives under loyalty, then they secede and create a civil war. And so I'm spending all of my effort every single turn now to just try to keep my own people happy. And for the first time in Rome Total War, I've actually had to resort to using buttons I've never used before or wanted to use before because they're not in my character. And one of them is assassinate. So in last night's game, a faction leader died and was replaced by another faction leader. Okay, another family. Okay, let's just say that there's 4 families. Mine and 3 other families, and we all are, working in the Senate and running the government. Okay, the leaders have traits. And the leader's traits can be positive or negative based on the way you're trying to play. Now, in my case, where I've got the world at peace, I've got a massive group of basically what Romans consider barbarians to the north that we've been friends with. And we're making great strides in becoming friends with everybody in the east and getting massive amounts of trade going. So this new faction leader that shows up, his 2 traits are hates barbarians and hates Easterners. That is completely opposite of what I'm trying to achieve. And so round after round after round, I'm throwing resources and wine and doing favors and doing everything I can to keep these people happy. And no matter what I do, they're not going to, because they're just not. That's their trait. And so I had to resort to an assassination to take one of these people out. But in doing so, you make their family mad, of course. But the next leader that takes over, he only had 1 negative trait. And I think it was, I can't recall what it was. I'll have to check tonight. But one of them was, he loves Easterners. Perfect. Because we've got so much trade going on with the East and trying to establish more. So, it's things like that. Anyway, it is so interesting how a game can really nail real life. All I need to do is open up trade in a couple more territories, and I've succeeded in an economic victory, I think, or a cultural. I'm pretty close to getting both of those, but they're going to be very difficult. And if any wars pop off, I'm in deep trouble. And if any civil wars actually do happen, I could be in trouble. Because I'm trying to make my cities grow and make everybody super happy, and I'm just concentrating on trying to prevent people from starving. And I'm trying to keep taxes stupidly low, ridiculously low as the bar will go, So again, I'm trying to be like this ultimate leader. So yeah, tonight's just going to be a lot of diplomatic missions out to the other empires and try to keep all of them happy so that nobody wants to go to war or break any of our alliances or trade agreements. If we can keep things steady and keep our own people happy, we just
the Battle of
might
Nivelle took
do
place
it.
in front of the River Nivelle near the end of the Peninsular War. After the Allied siege of San Sebastian, Wellington's 80,000 British, Portuguese and Spanish troops were in hot pursuit of Marshal Soult, who had 60,000 men to place in a 20-mile perimeter. After the Light Division, the main British army was ordered to attack and the 3rd Division split Soult's army in two. By 2 o'clock, Soult was in retreat and the British in a strong offensive position. Soult had lost another battle on French soil and had lost 4,500 men to Wellington's 5,500.
But she didn't tell us what it was about and who were the sides. What are they fighting for? All right. Coming up ahead, airport and another battle.
The battles of the Nive were fought towards the end of the Peninsular War. Arthur Wellesley, Marquis of Wellington's Anglo-Portuguese and Spanish army defeated Marshal Nicolas Soult's French army on French soil in a series of battles near the city of Bayonne. Unusually, for most of the battle, Wellington remained with the reserve, delegating command to his senior Lieutenant Generals Rowland Hill and John Hope. Wellington's army had successfully pushed the French army out of Spain, over the Pyrenees, and into southwest France. After his defeat at Nivelle, Marshal Soult fell back to a defensive line south of the town of Bayonne along the Adour and Nive rivers. The rivers and the Bay of Biscay near Bayonne form a rough Greek letter pi. The left vertical leg is the coast, the right vertical leg is the Nive and the crossbar is the Adour. Bayonne is located where the Nive joins the Adour. Initially, Wellington's army was confined to the area between the Bay of Biscay and the Nive. To gain room to maneuver, the British general had to establish his army on the east bank of the Nive. Wellington's dilemma was that by separating two wings of his army, he would leave himself open to defeat in detail. Soult, a wily strategist, understood this and tried to take advantage of the situation. By moving the French army through the fortified city of Bayonne, Soult could easily switch his army from one bank of the Nive to the other.
Got some beautiful highways down there. So the British were helping the Spanish, keeping the French from dominating their territory. To see the airports. I'm praying the way that they're rewriting the 2024 engine for Microsoft Flight Simulator, that they've already pioneered so much new ground with this simulator and what it can do. But I'm hoping the next generation is now being able to tie different gaming experiences into one thing. Meaning, I would like to be able to land my plane at an airport. And golfing is big. All the golf courses, right? And now Microsoft used to have Microsoft Golf. They used to release Microsoft Golf with every new version of the operating system. And like Simulator, they stopped making it. And there are those of us out there with love for Microsoft to return to also making Microsoft Golf. But now, using Will Wright's idea of that they can all share data sets and all work together in some way. That when you land your plane, you can play 9 or 18 holes at whatever golf course is nearby. Or the ground, you know, with the detail that they're hopefully able to get on the ground now. Other ground activities. So you're flying, you know, to go do things. And again, the landmarks are going to be better. And, you know, there's just so much that is possible. I know that may seem a little bit silly, but after you put in, you know, 3,000 or more hours of flying, you know, it is fun to want to go do other things. Plus multiplayer, you know, fly with your friends. Let's go fly to Pebble Beach, play some golf out there. When the plane makes its a sharp turn to the right, we'll be heading towards our destination. Let's find out where we're at. Man, we are not even. We've just now made this turn out here. So, just sightseeing mode for a while. Should have brought my line a little bit tighter into the coast. I can, and just deviate, take it out of nav, put it into heading mode. Oops. Don't do that. Okay. All right. See, that's built on the golf course. So yeah, it'd be nice if you bought both titles. If you bought Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 and you bought the new Golf, that you can play them separately. Or, you know, if you're inclined, you can link them, and they'll work together. So you can transition from simulator over to golf and then back to simulator in a very gamey way. I've been promoting that The Sims return to that way of thinking. Originally, Will Wright, his concept was to release all these titles and they would all work together. So SimCity, Streets of SimCity, Sim Tower, SimCopter, and The Sims, they were all supposed to work together. And then I don't know how in the world people took over and walked away from this concept over time. And in doing so, they've killed SimCity, Sim Tower, SimCopter. They've killed all the other sim lines except for The Sims. And then they're like stroking themselves because they're like, oh my God, we own The Sims and it's one of the greatest softwares of all time, franchises, and everybody loves The Sims, and that's all they concentrate on. And we're begging them, a lot of us old school people, like I'm talking about Microsoft doing it, asking them to return to that way of thinking, bring back SimCity. Finally, bring back SimCity and put The Sims in it. Bring back SimCopter. Bring back Streets of SimCity. The Sims is great, and I love playing it. And I've definitely done some live streams of it. And on my channel in the Sims area, you'll see videos of me talking about this. Complaining about EA, their management of it since Will Wright, and moving away from these ideas. Imagine if they were to bring them all back again, how good they would do again. I think if you were to bring back SimCity today and really try to stick to the beauty of what it was when it first started coming out, it will take over the world again. And not enough people had computers that were good enough to do Streets of SimCity back then, which is very much like Grand Theft Auto. You have street level adventures. You drive around your car and it's all first person. You're inside your car, or in SimCopter, you're flying around your SimCities inside of a helicopter. And we got to taste the brilliance, those of us that had good computers back then, to experience those things. And we're here to tell you, it was the greatest ever. It was the greatest thing ever to be able to create a city, go into your city and drive it and have adventures in it, fly in your city and have adventures in it. And all that was missing was The Sims, being able to go in and custom make people that can make your city better, where every sim that you create really does have a dramatic influence. And the more you play them, I mean, they can change all kinds of things and have a great impact on the game. I wouldn't want to be the people that blew that franchise, that lost it for them. The people that managed to talk everybody out of whatever the heck they did. To kill SimCity and kill all the other revenue generating possibilities. In my mind, they've lost billions with that decision. No matter how much money they've made with The Sims, that's nothing to what they've lost. Kind of talking about Rome Total War too, the people that make that series. You know, they've created a lot of other really cool games, but, you know, I'm into Rome, and so I've been waiting for Rome 3 Total War. But they've decided to make other titles, Warhammer and other things, which is cool. That's fine. But, you know, begging them all these years, can you now come out with Rome 3? It's funny, I still haven't beat... I never beat Rome 1, and I'm just now starting to beat Rome 2. So I'm maybe if enough... And then it told me the other night that only 9.9% people have done the Roman campaign and won a military victory. Out of all the people that play the game, only 9% have actually beat the thing. And that goes to show you how tough the thing is. But man, I would love to see one now with today's graphics. Oh my goodness. Everything would look so amazing. All this, just, yeah. Wow. It's now starting to get really good. When I was a kid growing up in the 80s, the most painful thing that I ever learned was Moore's Law. So, if you're old like me, you can probably understand that statement. That back when we had 286 computers, or actually less before early 80s. Okay, so Moore's Law is that the CPU power will double every 12 to 18 months. Okay. So in 1980, when you learn that, you're like, oh my God, I'm going to have to wait until 2020. Well, back then, just thinking about even 2010 was, oh my Lord, I can't imagine the computers we're going to have in 2010. But each year, just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for computers to get better and better and better and better. And graphics has its own Moore's Law, which is like every 6 to 12 months, graphics power doubles. So here we are in 2024 now, and it's basically going straight up. It's not changed. Moore's Law hasn't failed for either CPU power or graphics power. And so now it's starting to get ridiculous because now these big numbers are turning over and doubling. You know, when you're starting out with like a 286 computer and waiting for things like Pentium to show up, that's a long time. You know, you've got to wait a long time, you know, and then once Pentium, okay, double that, double that, double that, double that, double that. So even, you know, 5 more years from now, incredible what's going to be able to be done. Everything is possible now. So I'm rambling about some of these ideas, like, wow, that almost seems like stuff you couldn't do, but it's all now possible. Everything is now possible. It's just the will, you know, and the money. But if you're going to make money, well, again, like The Sims, you now have the absolute ability to do what I'm talking about and see Will Wright's idea of cross-compatibility between all the Sim titles. That they all interface to create one humongous, great, unified Sim. Simulation. So every package you buy adds on to it. Trains, planes, boats, you know, and then all the million DLCs that you can get for The Sims now to customize your cities. And your ability to move fluidly and seamlessly between all the titles. So if I was in charge of EA and I controlled The Sims, you better believe it, buddy. I would be doing absolutely that. Bring them all back. Bring back every freaking Sim title. And now I'll show you the money. It might be a lot harder now because they wasted so much time, decades, by not reinforcing this is what they're going to do, the grand unified architecture. And by not doing it, now it's been out long enough, copyrights, blah, 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 and now you're getting all these life sim games from other companies popping up. They're trying to get into the market. You've got Cities, and Cities 2 has just come out, and they're filling the void where SimCity failed. But they're still failing. They suck too. As cool as Cities it is, I wanted to play it so bad, folks. It's been on my mind for years, and it's out now, and I wanted to play it, but now food doesn't matter. Well, then the simulator doesn't matter. It's meaningless. The simulation, the underlying simulation of how to keep a city alive, if food doesn't matter, it's a joke. Because unless every, you know, again, you have no reason to have farms or grow food. Food just appears magically. And the trade, they're saying, doesn't work at the moment. And there's well, maybe somebody will mod it. It shouldn't be something somebody should have to mod into it. Why did you bother? It's just now a city builder. That's all it really is at the moment. It's just to build pretty cities. Sims did that too. They made farming meaningless, when it should be the basis of everything. That if you can't keep your people fed, man, then your city's gonna die. It's the reason to multi-play together. I'll be the farming city, you know. You be this city, the industry city. You be the cultural city. Or if you're playing by yourself, you know, how you support these other cities. So important. So if it doesn't have that, then it's just, yeah, it's just goofy. The Sims is that way now too. Things don't matter. The simulation beyond playing your Sims. Influencing each other, helping set up things between different regions, neighborhoods, whatever you want to call them, worlds. There's no politics. There's no real SimCity to it anymore. Sims 2 is closer to allowing you SimCity style gameplay, and in that you could buy everything in the town and own everything and remodel everything. I mean, you couldn't really lay it. I mean, in some versions you could create your own streets and things, but it wasn't. It was all just half-assed. All right, we're going to cut the corner here. So right now, what is it? LFDM. Let's just do it direct now to LFDM. Enter twice. Okay. Go up to nav. So yeah, we're going to cut that corner and just head directly towards that airport. It's 2:25 in the afternoon. in our space games with Star Citizen and others, like Starship Simulator, which is now coming out, being able to do something that we've wanted them to be able to do for a long time, and that's space to ground transitions. Well, now it's starting to happen. So with other, if you play space genre games, that ability is now there. And it's becoming more commonplace. Just, it's such an exciting time for gaming. Manor Lords is coming out in August 26th. So I need to finish up Baldur's Gate and Rome. Because August 26th, I would like to, if I can pre-order it or whatever, I would like to get Manor Lords. Now, Manor Lords is a city builder, but it also is supposed to have combat similar to Rome Total War, the Total War series, any of the Total War games. So where you can control all your troops. That's neat. But Games Workshop, who owns the Rome franchise, I mean, they dropped the ball. It's things like that. We've been asking them for a long time, well, why don't you do this and bring us a better experience and let us build cities and da-da-da-da-da. And so now here, an upstart, a new developer shows up, and it's one guy, basically. Well, it started out with one guy. I don't know how many people are working on Manor Lords right at the moment. But Games Workshop, they've got hundreds and hundreds of people developing their games. And Manor Lords comes along with one guy. And he's like, see? This is the way you should be doing it. And now he's already got like 2 million wish list. He got an award for 2 million people signing up on the wish list for that game. That guy must be so happy. Anybody who's helping produce that guy would be so happy to already have 2 million people wanting it. And the word's really starting to just get out about it. Going to show these kind of things are what we wanted. And that the big guys that you've given all your money to all these years, that they've literally sat on their laurels and not been adventurous enough to pioneer, to continue being the pioneers. Can't believe we haven't come across any other audio. So we just missed a whole bunch up here. This is the Dune of Palat. A lighthouse. Looks like we're flying over here. Ah, Bordeaux. Helping white people dance. There's a song by a gentleman named Brad Paisley called Alcohol. And he mentions Bordeaux, France. I've been making the bars lots of big money and helping white people dance. Hey, don't forget, if you need a subscriber, please go into the chat room and say hello. Please like and subscribe. But if you say hello in the chat room, it allows me to immediately click on your name, and I have an option called Go to Channel. So with one click, I can go to your channel. With another click, I can immediately hit subscribe. If you subscribe to me, it takes a while for the computer to catch up and show me on my dashboard. It'll say somebody is subscribed. But then it takes a while to show up on my dashboard. So I have to wait sometimes even a day or more. And then I can click on your name and go to your channel and subscribe to you. And I don't know why it is. That's just the way it is at the moment. But to facilitate things and to make things quick, you've got to go into the chat room and say hi. Or I don't get that option to just go to channel. Do. I wish gaming was the only worry, of things. I wish that we didn't have so many worries today, as we've always had, because of the mindset of, well, all of us really, because we can be so different in our thinking. That it creates all these problems. I'm very opposed to how the way they operate our government today. For example, just one issue, the immigration issue. Now, I'm all for legal immigration completely. I'm even for, people flooding in if they have to, if they really are seeking asylum. But it doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like a lot of crap. People are just taking advantage of the situation. But we've been hearing about it for, longer than 10 years before Trump. It was already an issue. But in over a decade, the government hasn't said, well, we expect that by this time we will have taken in 10 million people. And they did nothing other than giving money to the states to offer free money and support for people, which makes your citizens angry. They haven't in 10 years created a great work project in every state. They talk about infrastructure, but when you watch the news, there's no... Tonight, the government says, here's the graphic the government put up. You can go to the government website, White House website, whatever. Go to any government website, and you're going to see a list of all the great work projects that are currently going on in every state. We've got so many projects going across every state. We need 10 million people. So, rather than just like busing people herever to make political points and then putting them up in hotels and doing all these things and making your citizens mad and cramping people into cities and without jobs, and then just expect the state to just suddenly create a bunch of jobs. But even the states, they're not doing it. You don't hear on the news, hey, New Mexico says, hey, if you're coming in, come over here. We've got this project and this project and this project, which is going to link to this state who's also doing it in this project. So come in here, report to these guys. We're going to need managers, and we're going to need all kinds of people to get this particular great work job done. And we need 300,000 people right now. So yeah, I mean, they don't, the government bitches about problems, and they make us fight and get angry with each other about how to, deal with the problem, or they're complaining about the problems that are caused, but no solutions. When that should have been the first thing. That should always, solving problems. We're supposed to be alphas in 2024. All the DNA has been spreading around so much, and blah, 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 and everybody's smarter, and we all have great education and computers, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And we are surrounded by so much brilliance. But there's no brilliance in government operations. So there's something wrong. we need to demand a lot more brilliance. We should be amazed and awed. We're like, oh God, we love our government so much. They're unbelievable. They have a solution for everything. Doesn't matter, we'll make lemonade. So instead of everybody now fighting over what to do about closing the border and dealing with all these people and, national security on top of that and blah, 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 blah. Oh my God, they've got it all handled. Last thing we dealt with was how they handled COVID. And oh my God. That series of noises representing how badly they managed COVID. How ridiculous. How absurd. How 6th to 12th century. Just the most stupid. And then there's it's even worse than that, with all the crap associated with it. Conspiracy theories or not. Numbers are numbers. So now you can't even trust them. Because when they are faced with dealing with superhero level solutions, they just fall short so bad. And then you see what happens with certain types of people, personality traits, when they come into a whole lot of control power. We've talked about that one before. That the reason why history repeats a lot is because we don't change. Border Center 1253. Good day. Yeah, we don't change. Our personalities and personality traits, they're pretty locked in, archetypally speaking. So it's very easy to say the same type of people have been causing the same problems since time began. We aren't so varied in our personalities that they're infinite by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, you can sum up all male personality types in about 20. maybe even 10. And you can sum up all female archetype personalities in about 7 to 10 as well. But there's more male complexity. That's not to diminish the female. They've got their own sets of personality traits. Okay, so let's just say keep it easy to understand. There's 7 female personality traits and there's 10 male personality traits. Now, here's where you get lots of numbers because of the combinations. Usually you have a primary and then a secondary trait. Humans have usually a primary and a secondary personality trait. And it's based on one of these archetypes. So your dominant personality, let's say, what's a good way to explain this? Let's use the Greek god pantheon. All right, there's only about 10 major personality gods in the male side and 7 female personality types. So let's say you're an Apollo. So you're the Apollo archetype is your dominant male personality trait. But you might have additional mixtures of, let's say, the Hephaestus or the Dionysus personality traits, which are going to be secondary. All right, so now you have combinations. But there aren't any more than that. So where I'm going with that, psychologically speaking, some people shouldn't just clean up straight reviewing history and history fact. Some people should not be involved in government. Their personality traits are not the kind that have ever been conducive to managing anything. But people will bitch about that too. What do you mean I'm not allowed to participate in government? What do you mean? Honor my pronouns and honor my archetypes. Honor my archetypes, it doesn't matter. I should get an opportunity to be in charge and have power just like any of the other archetypes. Despite that, every time my archetype is in control, everybody dies. That should be my right too. Freedom. It's a stupid world we live in. Perhaps you should just go weave a basket and be happy. Stay away from government. All right. The wind is blowing, I'll bet you, from the west. It is. We're close enough. We should be able to see the landing pattern, I would think. Yep. All right, well, let's shoot for this corner. Take it out of nav. Put it into heading and shoot. Enter the pattern at at that corner. Go ahead and put the propeller back in for maximum power, but slow down. Down to flap range.
Château de Lanquoise is located in the town of Lanquoise in the French department of Dordogne. It dates from the 15th and 16th centuries, and it was classified as a historical monument in July 1942 and September 2010. Built in the Purple Périgord region, or Périgord Port, the Battle of Bergerac was fought between Anglo-Gascon and French forces at the town of Bergerac in Gascony in August 1345 during the Hundred Years' War. In early 1345, Edward III of England decided to launch a major attack on the French from the north, while sending smaller forces to Brittany and Gascony, the latter being both economically important to the English war effort and the proximate cause of the war. The French focused on the threat to northern France, leaving comparatively small forces in the southwest. Henry of Grosmont, Earl of Derby arrived in Gascony in August, and breaking with the previous policy of cautious advance, struck directly at the largest French concentration, at Bergerac. He surprised and defeated the French forces, under Bertrand I of L'Isle-Jourdain and Henri de Montigny. The French suffered heavy casualties and the loss of the town, a significant strategic setback. Along with the Battle of Oberrush later in the year, it marked a change in the military balance of power in the region. It was the first of a series of victories which would lead to Henry of Derby being called one of the best warriors in the world by a contemporary chronicler.
Well, that'd be be an amazing title to have. Don't forget, if you're into Baldur's Gate, I'm trying to finish that game up. I am in the Act 3, and I'm dealing with the last big major bad guy stories. There's still a lot to do, but I'm close to the end. I've been playing it for a long time, and I stopped for months and months, and now I'm live streaming that again, finishing it up, and I'll be doing that at I should starting at 4. I've been starting them at 5 p.m. MST. And then after that, I'm sorry, at 7 p.m. doing Rome at 5. But I've only been getting, again, 2 hours of that in. I should start Rome earlier at 4. And then I try not doing over 3.5, 4 hours on Baldur's Gate, because then after that, you can't edit your live streams once they're in replay mode. After 3.5, 4 hours, it's impossible at the moment. I don't quite understand
500.
why, but
We have touchdown. Welcome. Please vacate the runway and proceed to parking.
Transporter from dispatch. Clear the runway and taxi to parking.
hello, sock. Hopefully they don't see that as a collision. Good. Okay. And we want to get paid. So
Transporter. Cargo unloading in progress. Stand by, pilot.
all right.
Transporter from dispatch.
Hey,
The cargo was picked up by the customer. Your mission is completed.
Ready for engine start.
all right, let's put some fuel in. I think we're going to stop here. £929, $428. See what they're buying and selling here. They're selling beer. Let's look up the coastaways for tomorrow. See if I wonder how far we can make it tomorrow. Probably at least up to here. Let's just check this place out. LFRZ. Compare to current. Okay. So if we buy fuel here at 720, they'll buy it. That's not right. 101. Okay, we can buy it for 101 a unit, and they'll buy it for 582. So we can make $572. It's one way. Check this market out. $299 on beer. 418 on vegetables. $243 on beer. Looking for one that's like, oh my god, we absolutely need everything and we'll pay you through the nose for it. That'd be nice. Yeah, like this. 1,628 per unit. So they're selling mechanical parts here for 10,120. Buying them for 11,748. So if you can't find a job out of the way that you're, or whatever you're trying to find, going the way that you want to go, you can always play the market. That's why having the Caravan is nice. If you know, unless you want to keep chugging for the money and get yourself something bigger. $130. Huh, I haven't seen this one before. Create a transit mission. Transit jobs can only be added to planes with hired pilots. Okay. And I don't have that package. I didn't want to spend the money. During the beta testing or whatever, I had the pilots, and that's why I was able to make $9 million. But right here are your staff, and you can get hired pilots. You have to buy an extra little package. But by having a bunch of pilots running around that you micromanage to do flights, you can make a lot of money really fast. So this world tour has been a blast, man. Started in Germany and went and did the whole route of Alexander the Great, taking us almost all the way out into the heart of India, and then all the way back over here, all through Egypt, and then back up through Greece, and then crossing over Italy and doing the Rome and following this coast all the way along the Mediterranean, all the way around Spain now, and being here. It's been a lot of fun. So we're going to be going up to we keep this. I should go download the UK pack. But man, we're definitely going to get into the, look at how many dots are on the board. So yeah, now I need to get the UK and Ireland world updates. I don't normally load the world updates because I haven't been flying over here. So probably just keep going this way around these coasts, and then probably up through here. After that, maybe we'll swing back down in here and go back to Germany. It's gonna be long flying to get to Moscow and then covering all the way over into China to Japan. That's gonna be definitely a long stretch. All right. So thank you for tuning in. We'll do it again. Pick it up here tomorrow. And I'm off to get set up, well, stretch a little bit, do some things around here, and get the cover art ready and get ready to go for Rome Total War. Turn that off. Put that up. There we go. That's proper. So I hope you enjoyed today's flight. It was definitely educational today. Sorry about the rants. I try not to, but the political rants, and I try to keep it all history based. I don't want to offend anybody. And I am trying to present this from a position that, we have the facts, we have history. We let's debate it from that point of view. Talk about it from that point of view. All right, folks. Again, please